And then we have some Long Island ghost stories to put you in the Halloween mood. That's next on Ticket. The Spirit of Raynham Hall, the Amityville Horror, Satan's Trail, and Mary's Grave are just some of the chapters in a new book called Ghosts of Long Island, Stories of the Paranormal. Well, joining us is the book's author, Carrie Ann Flanagan-Broski, and paranormal investigator, Joe Gianquinto. Joe, that's a great thing to do for a living. I love that, paranormal investigator. But this is an exciting, fun book, especially this time of year, Carrie Ann, and I'm really excited to talk to you about a couple of the stories about these places, like the country house in Stony Brook. I've been there. I didn't know it was haunted.
Right. A lot of people say that because it's a very, very popular restaurant, and it was built in 1710, and it's been haunted by the ghost of Annette Williamson for the past 100 years. She was murdered in the house because it was believed that she was a loyalist, someone who supported the British when the British took occupancy over the house. But she was really just left there to take care of her family. She had no choice but to let them in. She couldn't defend against them. So many people have seen her. Bob Willemston, who is the owner of the country house, sees her all the time over the past several years. And customers, employees, people who have worked on the grounds.
What do you mean they see her?
Someone's actually done a painting of her, believe it or not, which is hanging there. She is a young girl with blonde hair, blue eyes, very pretty, and she has been seen wearing a long white dress. So it's fascinating. She has also appeared in one of the windows in the room where she was actually murdered. People have claimed that at night, driving by when the restaurant is closed, they've seen an image of a girl looking out the window in search of her family to come back to help her get rid of the British who were occupying
That
the
is
house.
scary. But now, Joe, you were both there one evening and you took pictures, and we're going to show a photo of what we see. Now, we're not seeing the girl, we're seeing orbs. Explain what this is.
Right. An orb, some people believe that an orb represents the spirit of the ghost, or the spirit itself that is not in a full form, not where you wouldn't see the whole person. The orb is kind of just a representation of the energy, a concentrated energy, and the spirit is appearing to let people know they're there. And orbs can take many forms and colors.
Now, that's an orb we're looking at right now. That was seen over the house. When we looked at the whole photo of the house, we saw them between the dog houses up at the top. Now, that you think is the spirit of somebody?
Yes. We had several of these orbs that were actually following us around the house. We started in the back of the house, went to the front. We had the same shape and size on our digital camera when we do the preview. We kept
You
seeing
could see it without the camera. You could see it as well.
You can't see it without the camera.
No, you can't see it.
But what was interesting, we were standing next to each other. We had separate cameras, and we had both photographed in the house prior and had nothing on the images. And so we went out. I would take a shot. Joe would take one right after me, and you'd see the orb in my picture, and then in his, you'd see it a little bit down further because they move. And it was the same, because not all orbs are the same. They're different colors, different brightness kind of things. So.
Okay, I don't want to run out of time because we have some more interesting ones. Winfield Hall, or the Woolworth Mansion, it's sometimes known as, in Glen Cove. Edna Woolworth was the daughter, and she died in the house, or committed suicide,
She had committed suicide, correct. And the day that I was there, I had a tour with Martin Carey, who is the owner of Winfield. And we were the only people in the house. It's being restored currently, so there was no one there. And when we went to leave after I had my tour, he said, "Oh, you could stick around and take, you know, as many photos as you want." He had to run out. So I photographed both with my manual camera, which has film, and my digital, which was for the color. And it wasn't until I actually printed the old-fashioned way in the darkroom the images for this book in black and white that I discovered that something appeared in one of the windows on the left-hand side.
And I think we have a picture of that.
And when I looked at it through a photographic loop, I said, I think that's a person. That's a person.
So tell us what we should look at in that center window.
In the center window, you can see the image of a woman looking out in old-fashioned clothing with, I'm not really sure what that neckline is called, but a very busty dress, and she has long hair, and she's looking out the window, and I believe that that's the ghost of Edna Woolworth. In all the years I've been photographing, I have never once captured an apparition. And like I said, I didn't know it until I was printing it in the darkroom weeks later.
Now, Joe, can you and Carrie Ann capture these images on cameras because you believe in them?
I believe so. I think a lot of being able to capture these images is that the ghost is reaching out to you, and you're open to communicate with it.
So they're receptive.
They are. There's a two-way conversation that goes on, and what the ghosts do is they can monkey around with the electronic equipment, such as the cameras, to leave you a message or an image to let you know they're there and they're okay.
We have 1 minute left, and I want to show this picture of the Bethpage Cemetery because this is just wild. I think here we have one close up. I want to point out, now you took this picture, Joe.
Yes.
And you came home and you saw that you had a soldier's face, his long jacket, and we even see his legs and his gun belt. This is in Bethpage.
That's right.
Did you see it when you were there? Did you see this ghost?
I did not, but what a lot of times when I get a sense of something in that area, and I go and take the camera and point it and shoot it at that area, and then oftentimes we'll get an image. So I don't actually see it live, but sometimes I see it later, yeah.
And Carrie Ann, I think it's important we say that you are an historian. That's what you do first. You've studied.
I always say well, my degree is actually in photography, and studying history came later. I just developed a strong interest in it and was on the board of trustees for the Historical Society. But I always tell people I'm a historian first and a Ghostbuster second. So I leave it up to the readers in the book. I write very objectively whether or not they believe in ghosts.
Well, there are so many more ghost stories in here of old ghosts and younger ghosts. What do you think? Do you believe? Well, Carrie Ann will be doing book signings throughout the Halloween weekend. For more information about these book signings and events, visit our website. Coming up,